Hi everyone, my name is Victoria Blaze. I have a social media platform, Clever Cat Slavonia. I had a cat behavior consulting business for a number of years, and now I just love training cats. I volunteer in a local shelter, and my favorite thing is to work with fearful cats and help them to get excited about meeting their new potential adopters. So I'm going to talk to you about the cat model for improving the lives of shelter cats. And I'm just so excited that you're having me here today. I hope that I can come visit you in person at Oakland County Animal Shelter and see all your beautiful animals that you are preparing for adoption. I want to commend all of you for taking the time today to watch this presentation. We all just love seeing these little kittens and cats get adopted with their new homes, and you're doing a great job helping them on that road. So we're going to talk again, mentioned about cat, and let's take a look at the objectives that we have today. We're going to discuss what is stress. What can we do to help the cats deal with stress? And we do that by recognizing the signs of stress in shelter cats by looking at their body language. And then also we're going to learn how to predictably interact with cats by using the cat model and also the stranger protocol, which is the stranger protocol helps fearful cats to get used to strangers. We're also going to watch a few videos at the end of some foster cats that I had to Chala and Shuri and see how working with them with these protocols help them change from fearful to friendly. What is stress? It's a physiological and emotional response to situations a cat perceives as threatening. So whether it's real or not, the cat thinks that it is. So when we see stress happen in a cat, what's happening is it triggers the fight or flight response and the release of cortisol. And cortisol causes glucose release, which boosts energy, which is beneficial because if they are facing a threat, they need that extra energy to get away from that threat. But when the stress continues for a prolonged amount of time, it causes problems. It causes high blood pressure, diabetes, anxiety, digestive problems, and upper respiratory tract infections and sleep issues. And it kind of, when I think about all this prolonged stress, it reminds me of the Brady Bunch effect. You remember the episode when Bobby Brady put too much laundry detergent in the washing machine? There was just bubbles everywhere, and it was just overwhelming. It's the same thing with stress. Just the right amount of cortisol is good, but when there's an excess of it, it's just too overwhelming for the body. And we, especially in the shelters, we see upper respiratory tract infections and digestive problems associated with stress. So we, as their caregivers, we're going to help learn how to decrease that stress so they stay healthy, they can be more social, and then they'll be adopted quicker. And that's not only good for the cats, but that also helps with shelter resources so that we can see more cats helped with the finances that the shelters have. And in this picture here to the right here, that's the foster cat Shuri that we helped her and her brother to be ready for their adopters. So we're going to take a look then. What can we do to help? Think about the journey that the cat goes through when they go through the intake. They may be a stray, they may be surrendered, they may have physical pain, they may be injured. Think of all the changes that they undergo, change in environment, lost their person, if they were surrendered. They're exposed to strangers, from field service workers to shelter staff, veterinarians, volunteers, potential adopters, and just people walking through the shelter. And also the animals that they're exposed to. They may hear dogs barking, other cats, all these strange smells and sights that they undergo through. So when we think about what they're experiencing, it can help us have empathy for them, and that'll motivate us into action. With the 5 domains that contribute to animal welfare and shelters, this is listed in the Association of Shelter Veterinarians Guidelines, for standards of care in animal shelters. So these 5 domains help with their welfare. They address nutrition, environment, their health, and also their opportunity. There's a number of opportunities that animals need to be addressed. They should be given a choice of environment, choice of interaction, behavioral varieties, such as being able to express their species-specific behavior. For cats, it's scratching, rubbing against things so that their pheromones can be deposited throughout their area. To be able to play and to hunt and to forage, and also just to be able to rest. And then also with the 5 domains, the mental state needs to be addressed too. Well, today we're going to take a look at the opportunity to have choice of interaction. And we're going to do that by looking at the CAT model and the stranger ritual. And the acronym for CAT, it stands for giving the cat choice and control. A, give attention to the body, language, and behavior. And T, think about where we touch the cat. And with the stranger ritual, it takes CAT model to the next level. It helps us to train fearful cats to solicit and enjoy attention from people. And with giving cats choice, how that helps the cat is when we interact with a cat in a predictable manner to the cat by reading their body language, the cat knows what to expect. So it's going to decrease their stress. And then the cats are going to feel comfortable moving around their enclosure, and they'll come to the front of the enclosure more frequently and meet their potential adopters. So that'll also decrease the length of stay. Dr. Susan G. Friedman, who is a professor emeritus with the Department of Psychology at Utah State University, she consults with zoos and animal organizations all around the world to promote positive behavior change and cooperative care with many different species. And it really touches me, I paraphrase some of her sayings here. It touches me how she says this: every animal has the right to say yes or no to interactions. A partnership approach is quickly replacing command style training. We interact with kindness by considering an animal's agency, the freedom to choose. And she says, honoring the no means responding to the earliest indication of stop so that the animals don't have to escalate their behavior to be heard. And escalating the behavior to be heard means hissing, growling, and biting in order to be heard. And I was thinking about this when I have dental work done. I got my mouth open, I'm so uncomfortable. And the dentist says to me, if you need a break, you need to stop, just raise your hand and I'll give you a break. And just knowing that I have control, it just decreases my stress. And I know that if I need a break, I'm going to raise my hand. The dentist is going to read my body language and stop and give me a break. And just knowing that helps me to allow him to go on with the procedures. So with animals, we want to give them choice. We want to always give them an opportunity to escape any interaction. So it's no longer acceptable to force petting or burrito wrap a cat into submission. That's considered flooding, and it's very stressful to animals, and it's harmful to them too. They shut down emotionally, or if they want to flee, they're going to try to escape by, again, growling, hissing, or biting. And we know when there's a cat bite, it's sad because the cat has to be quarantined for 10 days. It deprives them of the ability to interact with people, and it slows down the adoption process. But even more importantly, we want to consider the safety of humans when it comes to a bite. So we're going to look at a video. And this video was put on by Christine Fendley, and it says here, the title, Cat Says No Thank You. So as you watch this video, notice the different ways that the cat's body language is telling the person, no thank you, I don't want to interact with you.
It's like, yes, yes, please. So funny. She's like, okay, we're done.
So did you notice the different body language signals that the cat gave off? What did you come up with? If you saw that the cat's ears went flat, airplane ears there, you're right. Also, the body was stiff, the belly was down. The face was really kind of stiff too. There was a nervous sniff at the hand, staring at the hand. The cat's body shifted away, and obviously pushing the hand away. And several times the cat looked away, kind of like looking for a way to escape. And then finally the cat moved away. All of these were signs that the cat was saying, no, I don't want to interact. And when we don't recognize the no, it ruins the animal-human bond that we have, that trust that we have with the cat. So it's important to watch the body language. And that being said, I don't know if it's happened to you, but it has on at times happened to me, or I turn my attention away from interacting with the cat and I hear a hiss or I get batted at. And it's a reminder that all of us, when we're interacting with cats we don't know, well, we need to stay focused on what we're doing and try not to let things distract us when we're interacting with the cat. So we're going to look at how we can look and determine whether or not a cat is saying yes, which is the relaxed column on the left, or the green light. Think of it as like a traffic signal, green light, or is the cat saying no, the red light, a stressed cat on the right. So we're going to go through it and look at this list here that's put on by fearfree.com. And I want to commend all of you that have gone through the Fear Free Shelter program. It's a great program that helps us to learn how to interact with cats in a low stress manner. So the FAS stands for fear, anxiety, and stress. So when there's a low FAS score, the cat is relaxed, the green column. And when there's a higher FAS score, 4 or 5, the cat is in the stressed column, in the red. So when we look at this list here, we see the eyes, and looking at the two cats on the bottom depicts it very lovely. So the eyes on the cat on the left is normal, the pupils are normal, versus on the right, the dilated pupils. The ears are on the cat on the left. The green is the ears are up and forward, versus a stressed cat. The ears are flat and turned backward. And we look at the spine, the posture is the cat on the left is the back is flat, his hips are off to the side, the belly's exposed, his legs are out, he's very relaxed, versus the stressed cat on the right has an arched back. He's crouching. The legs are all tucked in tight underneath him. And even you can see the tail is wrapped tight around the cat. On the cat on the left, you can't see the tail, but if the cat was standing, the tail would be upright in a curved view, or we think of it like a question mark, shows that they're more relaxed. And we can also look at the mouth. The relaxed cat on the left, mouth is closed. Although sometimes we have to look at context. The cat could be stressed too. We just see a tight mouth. Versus a stressed cat, where the mouth is open, the cat's panting, hissing, growling, or spitting. You can even see the teeth and the hiss on the cat on the right. But we also want to look at the behavior of the cat too. Additional indicators of stress could be the cat's hiding, pretending to sleep, not eating. You see their tongue come out to lick their lip or their nose and thinking about context, they haven't just eaten. Or we might see whale eyes, the whites of the eyes showing because the cat's looking for the direction to escape. And then another obvious way to tell a cat is stressed is they're leaning away from you or they're moving away from you. So reading the body language again is very important. So what is cat? CAT is an interaction guideline that was developed by Lauren Finca. And the acronym, again, it's C stands for giving the cat control and choice. A, pay attention to the body language and behavior. And T, think about where we touch the cat. And Finca and Hayward in 2021 did a shelter experiment where they trained or educated volunteer staff and potential adopters how to interact with the cat. And they use these specific guidelines that we're going to talk about. Well, the cats that were in the experimental group were more relaxed and than the control group that the people that interacted with them weren't given direction on how to interact. So that more relaxed behavior that was shown included waving their tail, neutral ears forward, kneading with their front paws. It's always fun to watch a cat when they're kneading. And rubbing against visitors. We all love it when the cats rub against us, right? It means they're owning us and putting their scent on us. And another thing that showed in this study was the cats in the experimental group showed less aggressive behavior. There was less hissing, less growling, less swatting than the control group. So we can see that the way we interact with a cat, if we do it in a manner that's predictable to the cat, it's going to be very beneficial for their mental health and for the health of everyone. And if you think about it, when we greet someone, don't we like reach out our hand? Hi, how are you? If you want a hug, two hands. Can I give you a hug today? Well, what if we don't want to interact? What do we do? Don't we often just step away? Not today. I'm not interested in a hug. But maybe we still want to interact. We just don't want someone touching us. So cats are the same. We want to show respect and empathy for whether they're telling us yes or no. So we're going to look at each one of these parts of the acronym of CAT. For C, we're going to look at giving choice and control, and providing the cat with choice and control during an interaction, again, helps to reduce the stress. So we're going to have my little helper here, Soka. Soka the Siamese cat. If any of you are Star Wars fans, you now know who my favorite character is, little Sokatano. And again, when we interact with the cat, we want to use considered approach. We want to avoid strong perfumes, and we want to avoid staring at a cat. If we stare, it's threatening to them. We can give, a slow eye blink and glance away. And again, think about that traffic signal that we had talked about. When we interact with the cat, we can either be standing or we can sit, and to be sideways is less threatening. We want to offer our hand and then allow the cat to choose whether approach or not. And if the cat wants to be touched, they'll come forward and they'll rub against us, and where they want us to touch them, there's the point of contact. And if they don't make contact or they stay close by, again, avoid stroking the cat. They may just want to hang out with us. But if we present our hand and the cat moves away, they're saying, no, I don't want to interact today. So we need to respect that. And again, when we present our hand, allow the cat to control how much you stroke them. So when they come forward and rub against us, we just want to rub against them for 3-5 seconds and then stop. Check in to see whether or not the cat still wants to interact. Present your hand and see if they come forward again. If they don't interact or they stop, we want to also stop and give them a break. Maybe just give them a slow eye blink and look away, move away, or we can use some other type of enrichment with the cat, maybe a flirty toy or something else we can interact with the cat. And of course, soft voice. We always use soft voice with our cats too. Next, we're going to look at the A. The A for attention. We want to pay attention to the cat's behavior and body language, that traffic signal again, whether it's a green light or whether it's a red light telling us that we can interact. So you can see this photo here. This is my sweet little Mallory girl. Her ears are flat. Look at her, the pupils in her eyes are very dilated, and she's leaning away. Her feet are underneath her. Well, you can't see it, but her brother Caleb is trying to go after her. So she's like saying no in loud body language to him. But for us too, again, think about that, the traffic signal, the red light. Give the cat a break if the cat moves away from you. Their ears become flattened, those airplane ears, or they rotate backwards. If they shake their head, or the fur on their backs appear to ripple, we want to stop. Again, we see the tongue come out and they lick their nose or their mouth. If they're moving around a little bit and all of a sudden they just stop, they stop purring, they stop rubbing against you, or they sharply turn their head towards your hand, we want to give them a break. If they suddenly start to groom themselves, or we see their tail, flicking, again, we want to give them a break. And also with cats that are overstimulated, we might all of a sudden see them just moving around quickly, just jerky movements. Again, we want to give the cat a break. I also like to think about where we're going to touch the cat. Think about it. Most friendly cats prefer being touched under their chin, around their cheeks, or at the base of their ears. Once you get to know the cat a bit too, I know a lot of cats I work with, they like to have neck massages, but avoid the base of the tail, the tummy. Just because a cat flips over on its back doesn't mean it wants its tummy rubbed. And again, these are cats we don't know well. I know personally my cats, they love having their bellies rubbed, but we already have a relationship and they know me. And be cautious when touching the back, the legs, and the tail. So pay close attention to their body language to see if they appear comfortable enough to interact. So I like to play a game that is like a come to hand game. Once you know the cat, you can present your hand and the cat will come to it, give them a little rub, put your hand in another area, see if the cat comes to it, give them a little rub, and you can get them to move around the enclosure. And it's really great for the cat to learn that when a hand is presented, it's an opportunity to interact with the person. And we want the cats to move around their enclosure and feel really comfortable in their space. This is a really nice diagram of, again, the traffic signal areas of where to touch a cat. Areas in green where the cats are most likely accept petting, and red, most cats don't like being touched. Try to avoid these areas. And then the yellow light, proceed with caution. Some cats like these areas being touched, others don't. So again, watch the body language. So we're gonna watch a really nice little video done by Friends for Life, and seeing how the cat model is put into action. Pay attention to the body language of the cat, as well as the body language of the volunteers in the shelter, whether they choose to interact or not interact with the cat.
We are happy you're visiting our cats. We want both you and the cats to have a great visit that is safe and fun for everyone. To achieve this, we ask that you follow these very important rules. To remember them, just think CAT. Rule 1 is to always allow the cat to make the choice of whether they want to interact with you, and if so, how they want to be interacted with. This may mean you don't get to pet a cat that you want. Sorry if that's a disappointment, but respecting our cat's boundaries helps them trust new people. Start by sitting on the floor or in one of the stools. Be calm and quiet, and let the cat decide to approach you. Have your hands close to your body instead of reaching out. If the cat wants to be touched, they'll rub against you. If they don't make contact, don't pet the cat. We always want to give cats the choice to interact. So cats that are in cubby holes, beds, or boxes are off limits. If you're petting a cat, let them choose how much they want to be petted. Briefly pause every 3 to 5 seconds to check in with the cat. If they rub against you when you pause, they're asking for more. If they don't, keep your hands in your lap. It's very important to pay attention to what the cat is telling you. Often, people think there's no way to tell what a cat is thinking, but that could not be further from the truth. Here are 3 things a cat might do that signals they're interested in socializing with you. Blinks at you slowly and deliberately. Looks directly at you. Shows you a candy cane tail. Things that tell you the cat wants to be left alone include moving away, going still, stopping purring, or stopping rubbing against you. Sharply turning their head to face you or your hand. If the cat you're with does any of these things, stop and put your hands away. Cats, just like us, are particular not only when they're touched, but also how. While each cat is different and has their own preferences, in general, most friendly cats prefer being touched under their chin, around their cheeks, and at the base of their ears. Try to stick mainly to these areas, and again, pay attention to how the cat responds. Also, when a cat rubs against you, they often want to be petted with the part of their body they rubbed against you. Avoid touching the legs, paws, and the tummy. When touching a cat, pay close attention to see if they're uncomfortable. Now that you know these rules, have fun and enjoy spending time with our cats.
Isn't that a beautiful video on how to interact with the cats? But the question is, what if a cat is fearful of strangers and they're not going to approach you? Well, the stranger ritual is a really nice protocol that will help fearful cats to approach strangers and solicit affection. So we're going to look at some basic steps here, but there are more detailed steps that you can look at. The last reference slide in the presentation here references the article Using Ritualized Introduction Training to Decrease Length of Stay in Fearful Shelter Cats. And that's written by Melissa Taylor, and it is published in the IAABC Foundation Journal, which is an online journal that all of you can have free access to. So let's take a look at these basic steps here for the stranger ritual. We want to watch the body language for stress. And we talked about how seeing the ears go flat is one of the obvious ones, but also we're going to obviously see a cat shifting away, looking away, or moving away. When that happens, we want to stop. Stop moving toward the cat and increase our distance. So the first thing we want to train for is we want to train for eye contact. So when the cat gives you eye contact or even briefly looks up, moves its head up and looks, give a treat or play. And then we repeat this and gradually get closer to the cat. With play, I like to do that with kittens because it is easy to play with a string toy, or the kitten can keep a distance from us and still interact with the toy. The next step then, when we are within a few feet and the cat eats the treats or plays within a few seconds, we move to the next step. So we do eye contact first, then present our finger, and the cat doesn't have to contact our finger, just present it so they see it, and then we give a treat or we play. And we do that multiple times. Then when we see the cat offering pro-social behavior, such as approaching us, giving us a slow eye blink, rubbing against any items in the area, rubbing against your finger, we want to reinforce that. We want the cat to do that more. So again, we're going to give them a treat or we'll play with them. The next step then, of course, we want to have eye contact. Then we present our finger, and we want the cat to contact our finger. Then we give them treats or we play. And then the last step here, we have eye contact, then we present our finger, and when the cat contacts our finger multiple times, we briefly touch the cat and then give treats or play. And then with the last step there, we will keep repeating that, but gradually as the cat leans into us longer for a few more seconds at a time, we can give them that petting for a little bit longer and slowly give them fewer treats with each interaction. And a few tips that I like, I've done this with the kennel door open, the kennel door closed, sitting on the floor with kittens with a fleece blanket over my leg so that, you know, the string toy can be at a distance, and you can gradually test to see whether the kitten's body language indicates that they're willing to come closer with interacting. And if the cat doesn't want to eat any of the treats or engage, it shows they're stressed. So again, we want to back away, have more distance between them to a point to where the cat's comfortable. If the cat sniffs a treat without eating it, maybe they don't like that treat. Try a different type of treat, you know, chicken or tuna or something different that is unique to the cat. And again, remember to read the kennel cards because we want to respect any food restrictions in the shelter. So let's look at a video of how this is put into action. And this video is again done by Friends for Life, and Melissa Taylor is going to be working with a fraidy cat, Bentley. So we'll watch that video.
Hi, I'm Melissa Taylor from Friends for Life Animal Shelter, and I, alongside Bentley the fraidy cat, will show you how we teach our fearful cats how to predictably meet people and solicit affection from them. I start by waiting for eye contact from Bentley, and then when he makes eye contact, I say good and give him a treat. I'm not doing anything to encourage him to make eye contact. I'm just kind of hanging out, waiting patiently, and when he makes eye contact, I mark and give him a treat. Once he's predictably making eye contact with me, I can start to wait for eye contact, then show him my finger. He doesn't have to interact with my finger, but when I show it to him, then I give him a treat right after. It doesn't take long before he starts moving towards my finger and then eventually making contact with it. And that's what I'm waiting for. At that point, I'm going to start saying good when he touches my finger and then giving him a treat after. There, he touched me with the top of his head, which is fine. As Bentley starts touching my finger longer and longer, I get the feeling that he's ready to solicit affection. So I offer him my pinky instead of my index finger, which is a sign that petting is available if he solicits affection, which he does. If he hadn't solicited affection from me, I would have paid him for just targeting my pinky or maybe just hanging out there. That would have been fine too. At first, I'm treating him after maybe a second of petting, but I gradually increase the duration of my petting before rewarding him. This will teach him to not expect to be overwhelmed with physical contact from new people when he does meet strangers. I'm still waiting for eye contact before I do pet him, though. Eventually, I'll fade out the treats completely because he definitely enjoys petting for petting's sake. Stranger ritual practice is so important for fearful cats because it teaches them that meeting people is predictable and fun.
Wasn't that lovely? And a lot of people are wondering, well, why the eye contact first? Getting the eye contact, brief eye contact, not staring, is like a start button for the cat. The cat's saying, okay, I'm ready to interact with you. So we're going to look at
Hi,
We're
I'm
going to look at two foster kittens that we had. On the left is the brown tabby Shuri and her brother T'Challa on the right. And T'Challa was a very fearful kitten. He was described by shelter staff as being fearful, hissing, lunging. And these two kittens were 9 weeks old when we fostered them. And they were 2 weeks beyond the sensitive period for socialization, which is 2 to 7 weeks, but can extend longer in some kittens, a couple weeks longer. And that period for socialization is the time for us to help kittens get to know things that are novel to them, socialize them with other kittens, other animals, humans, expose them to novel environments so that they won't be fearful of those things. And when kittens aren't socialized during that period, going beyond that, it just takes a little bit longer for them to overcome fear of things that they haven't been exposed to during that time period. And typically kittens just take a day or two to get used to novel items. But when kittens are trained to be exposed to things they haven't been exposed to beyond that time period, it often takes a little bit longer, typically 10 days. And we're going to see with T'Challa, not all is lost, that he was able to get used to soliciting affection, and by using this cat model as well as the stranger protocol. And when you think about it, with cats and any animals, when they're afraid of something, what do they want? They want distance from that thing, or they want that thing, human, that they're afraid of to go away. So we want to always keep in mind that when we are interacting with the cat, when we see that stressed, fearful body language, stop approaching and move away. And you'll see in these videos, as I did that with T'Challa, I increased distance from him. He came out of his box and he interacted more, and he didn't hide as much. He investigated the toys. I like to use like fishing pole type toys. Here I have these videos, I'm using a wire toy with a little paper bag and string on the end. That way the cats can hunt. They can get out that instinct to hunt, go through the prey sequence of watching the thing they're hunting, stalking it, chasing, capturing, and biting it, and having something to eat afterward. When they go through that hunt sequence, they're releasing endorphins. They're neurotransmitters that create that pleasure and happiness feeling. And that helps, again, to reduce stress and helps with pain management. Endorphins also increase the release of dopamine. Again, another neurotransmitter that boosts mood. So let's take a look at the interaction in these videos.
The kittens have been here 7 hours now. The brown tabby, Suri, has been playing and purring a bit. T'Challa is a little nervous, but starting to play with the toy, but still hides. Now if I were to bring my hand towards them, Suri's curious, but because T'Challa's hiding, I don't want to spook him. So I give him a slow eye blink and move away, but he's hiding pretty far back there. It's willing to come out. Toys are something they can chase, and it brings out the hunt sequence in them, which builds confidence and gives off calming hormones.
So they're so cute. Love to foster kittens. And then here we see T'Challa's interacting more. He's out of his box. He's coming forward and interacting with me. But you'll notice in this video, when my hand comes closer to him, he still jumps away. So he's still fearful. So I backed away so we have more space, and then he engaged again.
T'Challa is allowing my hand to come kind of close to him as he plays. But I'm careful to still keep at as much of a distance as I can for now. This one I come in closer. You can see he's still fearful. See him back away. So we keep a distance and play with him. And he still is seeing my hand with the toy.
Then I also use the stranger ritual with the two
T'Challa
kittens.
is
And it took T'Challa 11 days of us fostering him before he finally consented to being touched. So I went through the same stranger ritual protocol with getting eye contact, presenting my finger. You'll see in the video that he approaches, he licks my finger, and then allows a little bit of petting, and then I gave him a treat afterward. I was so excited when he finally interacted with me.
oh my good boy. He's my good boy. Yeah,
He's purring like crazy right now.
he's my good boy. Pairing his favorite catted treat with touch.
I really like lickable treats too. It seems like the majority of kittens really enjoy that, and it's easy to control. So we had T'Challa for 14 days when we returned him to the shelter for spay and neuter, him and his sister Shuri. And then on day 17, I was able to come into the shelter. And again, we had already given eye contact and did little stranger ritual interaction. And you can see by the body languages in this video, see the almond eyes relaxed, pupils constricted, ears up, not shifting away. Then close your doors open. They're not wanting to escape. They're just really relaxed on their little bed that has their pheromones all over it.
You guys are so sweet. You know it, huh? Good kitties. Good kitties. They love their bed.
They're so cute. And they were adopted out. I recommended they be adopted out together since Shuri really helped boost T'Challa's confidence. And I encourage any of you also to have items such as their fleece blanket, their bedding, the boxes, and move it along with them throughout their experience into your foster home, from foster home coming back to the shelter. If the items aren't soiled, and having those pheromones and their scent all over these items helps to relax them as they move through the shelter. So this last little video is kind of a tip that I thought you would all enjoy for cats that don't like being touched. Like T'Challa, I needed to weigh him, but he liked to interact, but he didn't want to be touched. So I just used a food lure to get him to come up onto the weight scale. So I suggest having the weight scale against a wall or a door so that there's a barrier. Have a non-slip pad on top of the weight, on top of the scale. And then use a food lure as you get them to go along. And you can even train them to go on to the non-slip pad when it's not on the scale. And then when you put it on the scale, zero the scale and lure them on. So let's see how that looks. This is Shuri here. Look at those cute little legs. She's so adorable. She's purring like
Good
crazy.
girl. She's such a good girl. Perfect. He's such a sweetie.
So here we see T'Challa all confident and ready for adoption. So in conclusion, the things we discussed today is looking at body language to tell whether or not a cat is telling you yes or no, whether they want to interact. Think about that traffic signal. Is it a green light or is it a red light? And we looked over the cat model for giving the cat choice and control over interactions, give attention to the body language and behavior of the cat, and also think about where we touch the cat. And we went over also the stranger ritual, which helps fearful cats to solicit affection. So when we interact with a cat in a predictable manner, it decreases stress, it helps the cat stay healthy, and then in the future, the cat's going to be more likely to come to the front of the enclosure and interact and be adopted quickly. So thank you so much for taking the time to learn a little bit about reducing stress in shelter cats and helping them to get adopted quickly. I appreciate all the work that all of you are doing at Oakland County Animal Shelter. You're really making a big difference in the lives of cats. So, and thank you for having me to visit today. I appreciate you all taking time to learn about this. I want to encourage any of you, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at clevercatslivonia@gmail.com, or please follow me on my social media platforms. I am on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, Clever Cats Livonia. Thank you.